Yep. First of all, I appreciate all you being here, for taking the time. I want to lead with this. I am so proud of our football team. And, we talked about this a lot last week in the press conference after Michigan, and we talked about how close we were to going over that hill, and it finally came through. And I want to make sure I say this. With the direction Coach Wade said, this has and always will be a player-driven program. And I'm so proud of the way our team fought. But, kind of like I said last week, by no means was it a perfect game. We still got plenty that we can clean up on all three phases. But the beautiful thing is this team never let go of the rope. They fought till the very, very end. And I'm so proud of our defense. I told them in the locker room, they got us to stop in a critical moment when we had to have it. Offensively, we produced. We ran the ball. We have more to improve on, but I cannot say enough about the resiliency of this football club and how proud I am to have the opportunity to lead these men. They mean everything to me. Questions, if you guys have them.
Did you see from the Brahmas defense that just made you confident with your team to run the ball?
I'll say this. I thought Blake Williams, their defensive coordinator, and, myself and our offensive staff, we were playing a mean game of chess the whole time. I thought he did really, really well, but, our identity was, and game plan going into this was, if they were going to remain too high, we had a lot of advantageous pictures box-wise to be able to run the football. And that was something that we identified that was a developing strength of ours and something that we needed to continue to lead and kind of lean into. And then at the end of the day, we knew it was going to be basically a 4-down, 2-high structure out the gate. And then once you were able to run the football on them, they'd move to more 5-down and kind of rotate the picture. And so we were able to establish the run game early and then continue to lean on it. Obviously just taking a quick glance at the stat sheet, all three of those backs, Anthony McFarland, 14 for 64, Ja'Shawn Corbin, 11 for 27, and then our brand new running back, Aiden Robbins, only 4 for 13, but 2 touchdowns in the mix. So we were able to spread the ball around, and that was kind of what we saw in the run game.
What were your thoughts on that last play of the game? Fourth and goal. What were your thoughts? What you wanted to see? What you expect to see? Did you expect them to run what you thought?
You're speaking about the defense's last play in the game, correct? I thought Will Reed and our whole defensive staff, I thought they did a phenomenal job all week of game planning. And so we knew when we got into that situation, we had calls that we particularly liked. And we knew at the same time it was going to be a through-the-air shot for them because it was a 4th and 9 situation. And our defense executed. So game plan-wise and the thought, we knew we wanted to bring a little bit of pressure so that quarterback didn't have all day to throw. And I thought the play call by Will Reed and the defensive staff was the perfect call at the right time.
Coach, first of all, congratulations on your first win officially as head coach. Kind of talking about getting over that hump last week, and last week 1 for 3 in the red zone. This week 3 for 3. Aiden Robbins, you mentioned, scored the 2 touchdowns. What went into making sure that you were more efficient this weekend in the red zone?
Really it came down to, our players executing. And with that, we placed a big emphasis on, starting with myself, getting the play call in as quickly as possible to give them time. And then at the end of the day, especially like when you look at that touchdown that Aiden had, that was a, contact in the backfield situation where he was able to use his power and stability to kind of spin out of it to break through and get in the end zone. So with that, I thought it was a great decision by Kellen, getting the ball to Greg Ward on that touchdown we had in the low red, and really it just came down to placing an emphasis all week in practice and that being something we must improve on to be successful. And then at the end of the day, the players came through and executed.
And then to follow up on that, the offensive line play today was really, really good. DC's defensive line is one of the best in this league. No sacks today. What can you say about what the offensive line did today?
Man, I love those guys. I'll go to war with our offensive line any day. And, I told the offense, our game plan specifically, when you have an elite pass rush, which I do believe DC's is, if not the best in the league, one of the best. And so with that, we knew we wanted to run the ball early, we wanted to screen them, and we wanted to get the ball out as quickly as possible to kind of force them to have to peel off and try to go make plays. And so we were able to stick to that game plan a lot in the first half. And then our offensive line did a phenomenal job protecting. Kellen used his legs and was able to get mobile on them. And I'm really, really, really proud of our O-line. I said it last week, and I stand by it. regardless of where the stats are, everything, I really believe we have one of the best offensive lines in the league, and I'm so proud of those guys, the way they fought today.
Hey, Coach, what's your thoughts on with the defenders you only had? They had one touchdown and they had 3 red zone trips. Just talk about your team's red zone defense and just being able to stop the prevention drives.
I thought our defense played electric. I really did, and to be point blank with you, all 3 phases came through it at the right time. And defensively, we talked about, our big emphasis was all week, we need to go 1-0. We need to focus as individuals on our 1/11th of the picture. And with the way our defense has played over the past, now 4 weeks, I knew they were really, really close, kind of like how we were on offense, to breaking through, so to speak, and playing really, really clean football. And so I thought, like I previously mentioned, I thought they executed the game plan really, really well. And then at the end of the day, kind of like I've said about the offensive line, we have a phenomenal defense. And those players, when you get some confidence, you get your first red zone stop, things start to roll from there. And getting off the field on that first red zone trip was a big deal. And I can't say enough about the effort and the buy-in from the defense, because this has been quite an interesting season. But I'm really, really proud of those guys. They never stopped believing. They never wavered in their confidence in themselves. And we have all the faith in the world in them.
We're about this. Greg Lucas and Antonio.
Yeah, Coach, I kind of like you weigh in on this as well. Just what does it mean to be able to get this win under your belt for the first time this season? How does that sort of impact how you look for the rest of the year?
Hello, there we go. I think the win is obviously amazing. First win as a Brahma for me, and we got a lot of great leaders, guys who have been here, who know how to win, especially coming on the road. Certain third downs, it definitely did get pretty loud and was making it a little bit difficult to communicate. But I feel like I've been saying since week 1, it's about playing complementary football. And I don't know if this game exemplifies that any more than anything. So, we got a punt return for a touchdown, which was huge. We get a defensive stop at the very end of the game. Offense goes up, I think 12-0 at the beginning. And, when we're able to kind of control the clock, stay in our packages and run in the pass game, and then you're able to, force their offense to play from behind. I think that's when our defense plays best, and probably most defenses play best. So I'm really proud of this group, proud of this coaching staff for, everything's been going on over the last 10 days, and, we're only going to build from here.
And, yeah, Coach, what is one thing for you just to get the first one in your career, stepping into this head coaching role for the first time?
It means everything to me. And I can't say, enough thanks to, God for this opportunity, for the league, to Mark Lillibridge, our general manager. This is a win I'll never forget. But I'm going to be 100% honest with you. This one's because of the players, and they executed the game plan to perfection. And I've told them, all along, our job as coaches is to try to put them on all 3 phases in positions to be successful. But at the end of the day, they have to go execute. And I'm so proud of this football team. And this is just the beginning. We have a lot to improve on, and I know the sky's the limit with this football team. We have a lot of season left to play, but this is a special moment for me, one I'll never forget.
And the last one for me, Jordan, just as you look ahead now at 1-3, how do you sort of set the outlook for the rest of the year, what you can accomplish, and what have you seen today?
Coach told me a long time ago, man, winning only minimizes mistakes. So we're just using this as we're building forward. Like Coach Pardee said, man, this is just the beginning to, the rest of the season. We're starting 0-0 this week, and we went 1-0, and we're going to go 1-0 next week. So we're just going to keep building and trusting the process.
Greg,
anything else? We're going to go. Oscar, go ahead and unmute and ask a question.
Thank you very much. To Kellen, what a game, a good one. Do you remember the season of 18 at College Station, Kellen Mond versus Jordan Tam, Texas A&M versus Ole Miss? Tonight we saw another great matchup between you and Jordan.
Can you say that last part again for me, Oscar?
Yeah, tonight we saw another great matchup between you and Jordan Tam. Do you agree?
Yeah, me and Jordan have playing against each other, knowing about each other, and have been really close for a long time, and I've always been well respected, and they had really good offenses back in the day with DK Metcalf and A.J. Brown, Elijah Moore, and those guys. So I think I got the win in 2018 over him. But yeah, I mean, Jordan, I mean, he's a really good quarterback, and it seemed like he played extremely well tonight. So, I think we play them again at our house, and, we're just going to continue to have our quarterback battles as we continue to move forward.
Yeah, we're going to finish soon. Go ahead, Avion.
How you doing, guys? I'm coming from AFN. Sorry. I know you guys talk about the offense defense, but I want you to get into more detail on special teams. Matthew Sexton had an 83-yard punt return and kind of lit a spark for the whole team. Can you guys talk about him and what do you guys see on that play?
Special teams guy? Why don't you go?
I'll go ahead on that. I told everybody on our sideline that is a once-in-a-million play. Because to give you the kind of backstory, we were in defensive stay. So we left our defense on the field because where the ball was field position-wise, we knew when we had the lead early in the game, DC would, possibly try to do some things with their special teams unit to try to steal a possession and possibly go for a fake. And so in that situation, myself and our special teams coordinator, Jesse Thompson, we left the defense out on the field, which generally means you're not going to get a great return because you have 4 down linemen that covering in space for 50 to 60 yards is not their forte. And so I can, at least for me, I've never seen a punt return for a touchdown on defensive stay safe. So that was a first for me. But, I'm really, really proud of Matthew Sexton. He's done a lot of great things for us all year on offense and on special teams. And for those that were fans of, the XFL back in 23, he was a dynamic returner back then. And so Matthew Sexton, that was a phenomenal play by him. And additionally, Tavante Beckett had a critical block on that, as did Jalen Elliott. So that was a whole team effort play. But I'm really, really proud of Matthew and the whole defense on that. That was a special, once-in-a-while play that happened there.
Thank you, Coach.
And then last question on Zoom, Arabia, I believe.
Congratulations on the win. Coach Harris used a super challenge and wasn't awarded a flinch, but got to play with you on a 4th and inches. Did you feel like he should have gotten that challenge back?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the first part of the question?
Yes, Coach Harris used a super challenge, but he wasn't awarded a flinch kind of at the beginning of that challenge, but he did get the play to be kind of 4th and 1 or 4th inches. Did you feel like he should have gotten that challenge back?
That was a really unique circumstance, and I'm excited to watch the TV copy because I hope the fans are able to see that was really, really neat from a fan perspective. Obviously, it wasn't neat from our perspective because we got put back in a 4th and short. But as far as the situation, should he have gotten his challenge flag back or not? To be honest with you, that I don't know. I look forward to having a conversation with Mike Pereira and Dean Blandino to talk through that situation because one of the really neat things about this league is you come up to situations periodically that are unique. And so as far as that, should he have gotten the challenge flag or not, I'm not going to comment. I need to visit with them on that. But, from his point of view, and I told Coach Harris after the game, his guys were ready to play. And just, strategically, from my point of view, I thought that was a good challenge by him because that's when you want to use challenges. You know what I mean? In my opinion, from a head coaching perspective, it benefits you more to reserve the challenge for a critical play. And that was a big conversion for us when we needed it. So, I'll have to do some more investigating on that.
Thank you. Congrats.
Thank you.
Thank you.
More questions?
Kellen, how do you think you've grown from your career at A&M until now, and how does this team help you grow?
I think truthfully, just being able to come play in this league and get reps, and I think it's really hard, especially once you get in the NFL and either sometimes you're a second string, a third string. Usually, most of the reps you're going to get is maybe another offense that you rep in scout team, and simply just maybe a quarter in preseason. So really, to come out here and be able to go full games, have to execute drives, end of half situations, end of game situations. I think is the best thing, and I think especially in this league, I think it's a quarterback-driven league, and I think it's extremely beneficial. I think I've grown from understanding defenses from my college days, from an accuracy level, a lot of plays that I checked, getting us into better plays today. So, I think just a totally different player as expected when you're comparing a 20-year-old versus a 25-year-old.
2 more questions out here.
Okay, from the players, just given everything that's happened over the last 2 weeks or so, how did you come together as a group, as players, to just motivate each other to win today?
Truthfully, I think it's hard, honestly, and I think certain things that we talked about last week, everything that we dealt with, especially as an offense, most teams would have folded, and for us to go and play the way we did against Michigan, we still lost, but we saw a lot of promise, and for us to come on the road against probably one of the best teams in the league, against a really good defense with a really good scheme and an offense who's been dynamic all year, I think is just a true testament to the players staying together, the leaders. Obviously, the way Peyton has been a leader and stepped up, you go from receiver and special teams to, head coach, and he's done a phenomenal job. And then, just even last week, some of our offensive staff having to take on bigger roles, and nobody flinched. And so I think it's just amazing to be able to be with these guys, see the defense playing better each and every week. And as we continue to feed off each other, I think all 3 phases will continue to play better.
And then, but from my end, I just think that we all saw flashes throughout those 3 losses. They might not have been, pretty for us on that end, but we saw flashes of greatness. So we just kept pushing. Again, like I said, working through the process, and we're going to click, finally towards the end of the season.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you.